The reason why I asked you to come on, and thank you again for giving us a couple moments, I wanted to talk about the LA Lakers losing in 5 games to the Minnesota Timberwolves because they ran into an absolute buzzsaw and didn't know how to respond to that punch. And what did you see from that series? And then what do you think the response is going to be from LA in that front office this summer in terms of making moves to give Luka Doncic a chance to get back to the NBA Finals?
Yeah, I know a lot of people are excited the Lakers were bounced, whiny LeBron, whiny Luka.
Right.
My theory is I think everybody just missed Minnesota. They were a 32-29 team after 60 games.
Right.
Like, they were headed to the play-in for most of the season. And then a funny thing happened. March happens, and all of a sudden Minnesota goes on a tear. But nobody was paying attention because it was March Madness, right? The great NCAA tournament. So Minnesota, at the end of the season, gets hot, and they avoid the play-in. But nobody had anticipated that. And all of a sudden, you see this team in the series against the Lakers, and you're like, whoa, who are these guys?
Right.
Where has this team been all season? And that's why the Lakers were favored. Everybody, in the media, I didn't see one person pick Minnesota in the series. Did you?
No.
Everybody just thought, Lakers, Luka, LeBron. Yep. And then Minnesota starts playing. It's like, Julius Randle's playing out of his mind. And Lakers got smoked. I was stunned. I'm not going to lie. Like, this really surprised me. I had money on the Lakers. And it was a shocker. And then you got Redick talking about people need to get in shape. But listen, at least he didn't say it during the series. Right? Like after game 2, hey, Luka, you got to get in shape. Then it's like, oh, my gosh, 5-alarm fire. But after the season, I think it's acceptable to say, hey, Ben, Luka missed 30 games this season or whatever it was due to the injury. He joined a team in February. Remember when Kyrie did that in Dallas? Dallas missed the playoffs.
Right.
Kyrie joins Luka. They missed the playoffs. They kind of tanked at the end to keep their pick. They add Derek Lively in the draft, and then next year at the deadline, they add P.J. Washington and Gafford, and all of a sudden, then they had their title contender. So in the moment, it stunk for the Lakers, and it was a surprise, but I do think, long-term it's going to be okay.
Now, you had also spoken about JJ Redick on the show, The Herd, with Colin Cowherd, and the job that he did year 1. And I don't think that anybody saw this because he never coached before. So you saw NBA Twitter and those who, also hate on the Los Angeles Lakers that, at this point of the season, Darvin Ham had the same amount of wins, but JJ Redick coaches a team to a top 3 seed in year 1, and I feel that the players responded to him fairly well. I think he'll learn from the mishap that he had in game 4 by playing just 5 guys an entire half, and one of those guys just happens to be 40 years old. I just thought that although LA lost the series, JJ Redick as a whole did a pretty fair job year 1 because I think most people thought this was going to be a circus coming into all this.
Yeah, no, agreed. I mean, top 3 seed was impressive. I don't understand this Darvin Ham comparison. Like, what are we doing?
Right.
Right. No disrespect to Darvin Ham, but like, I don't remember him as like a really, really great NBA player. I don't remember him going on podcasts and pretty smartly breaking down what was going on with the league. Like, Redick is a pretty intelligent guy. I'm not bashing Ham. I don't know him at all. But like, Redick, he's a great story. I grew up in Virginia. And this is a guy who I think he set like the high school record for scoring when he was at some rinky-dink high school in Virginia. Wow. And this guy was just a gunner, and he ends up at Duke, and you're like, he can't hang there. And then, of course, he's phenomenal at Duke. And then he goes to the NBA. Well, there's a white guy. He can't guard anybody. Come on, no chance. And he has like a 15-year career. It's like, this guy's a really, I think J.J. Redick is a sharp basketball mind. I don't understand the hate for him. I think that just comes back to the Lakers and LeBron and Luka. And people just hating on greatness. I personally think Redick was outstanding. Certainly, if I had a vote, he would have been one of my finalists for Coach of the Year. And I'll be honest, I think he tried everything in his power in that series against Minnesota. They were in 3 coin toss games at the end. Yeah. I mean, Game 3 was tied with 4 minutes left. Right. Game 4, Lakers led by 2.
Yes.
After, I think, an Austin Reeves 3 with 90 seconds left. And then in Game 4, they were down 3 with 90 seconds left.
Right.
So those are all, like, they're right there. Right. This wasn't like a blowout. So I don't blame Redick at all, and I'm sure people listening to this think I'm a homer. But, I didn't see terrible from J.J. Redick at all.
Continuing our conversation with Jason McIntyre. He's the host of the Straight Fire podcast. You can also listen to him on The Herd with Colin Cowherd. You also had a great discussion about Jalen Brunson and the Knicks. And I've always thought, when I think of the New York Knicks and the top players that they've had all time, you always think of Ewing, Frazier, Bernard King. But I'm also thinking of a guy like Jalen Brunson, probably as the fourth guy. I also try to throw Carmelo Anthony in there sometimes. But you argued that, listen, by the time it's said and done, if he continues on this trajectory, Jalen Brunson may be the greatest Knick of all time, even surpassing that of Ewing, which I would have probably never thought would be possible to anybody who's going to be a New York Knick. Why do you believe that he has that great of an opportunity to become the greatest Knick of all time?
Yeah, he seems easy to root for, right? I mean, Patrick Ewing, coming out of Georgetown, man, 7-footer, won a national championship, went to, I think, the Final Four. I forget if they lost in the championship or not. Yeah, I think they did lose in the championship. Bottom line is Patrick Ewing was such a decorated college player.
Right.
Number 1 overall pick. Knicks get him. Like, he obviously is going to be tough to pass. That being said, Brunson, who just got here in free agency, feels like a savior. And he's one of these below-the-rim guys who's not going to wow you with dunks. But, my gosh, does he not do a good job of getting to his spot in the mid-range? Just absolutely killing everyone. He is so clutch and easy to root for. No cockiness, no arrogance. Seems like just the consummate pro that you would want leading your organization. And remember, the Mavs had Luka and Brunson. Okay? How did they fumble that?
Right.
Now they got neither of them.
Right.
It's just crazy. But, I love me Jalen Brunson. Obviously, winning a title would matter. Now, Ewing did not win one, but got them to the finals. Obviously, the fateful John Starks game. I think it was the same night as the O.J. Simpson chase. I'd have to double-check that. That might have been Game 6 or something. But I remember that one stung, trust me, as a Knicks fan growing up.
Staying in the Eastern Conference, Jason, has Giannis played his final game as a Milwaukee Buck, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think that's a safe assumption. There's no path to them getting back to contending. They don't have a first-round pick, I believe, for the next 4 years. Right? Dame is going to miss, I think it's safe to say almost all of next season after the Achilles injury. That's at least 10 months. And the rest of the roster is not good. It's like Bobby Portis, Kyle Kuzma. Are they going anywhere?
No.
So, I mean, listen, the Bucks can say to Giannis, hey, let's give it one more chance. But it feels like just a waste, and the value is going to go down. The smart move, obviously to huddle with Giannis, say, listen, man, we understand if you want out. We just want to do this quietly so it doesn't get ugly.
Right.
And I'm sure Giannis will give the Bucks a list of some teams that he wants to go to, right? Like, do you think he'd want to be traded to Utah for, like, the number 1 pick? I doubt it.
I doubt it.
But would he go to, I don't know, the Phoenix Suns? Is there enough ammo to go there?
Okay.
Is there a trade to the Warriors? I don't know. Like, it's going to be fascinating. Like, the Miami Heat stink all of a sudden. Are they a destination anymore?
Right.
I don't know. The Knicks, obviously, if they get dusted by the Celtics. And then what about the Celtics? I think one of the spiciest things, a couple months ago, I was like, listen, if you're the Celtics and you're the new ownership group, remember, they had new owners come in. And in year 1, you have to write a luxury tax bill for like $50 million. Hello, that's not going to be fun.
No.
And my guess is they're going to want to shed salaries significantly. And so that's why I think like a Jaylen Brown and Peyton Pritchard and picks, or Brown and White, or White and Porzingis, whatever the salary is to match up. I think the Celtics are certainly going to be in play for Giannis, and that would be scary because a Tatum-Giannis combo, you talk about dynasty. Holy hell!
Now, Jason, I'm going to be a delusional Lakers fan here, and I'm going to say Lakers.
Tell me what the path is. Like, well, how do we pull that off?
Oh, we wouldn't be able to, but I think we're at peak delusion because of the Luka Doncic trade. I don't think that anybody thought that would have been possible, especially with the return in value in which the Dallas Mavericks got. But, hey, who knows? It's very nice to dream, as we're here with Jason McIntyre. You can follow him on Twitter at Jason McIntyre. You talk about another guy that probably is going to leave silently before it gets ugly, and that's of Kevin Durant. And I don't know where he goes next season, but it seems as if it's going to be critical, because I think there are parts of me that says Kevin Durant does want another shot at winning a championship. Is there a team out there that you say, okay, I could understand the fit if they go out and they decide to acquire Kevin Durant.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about Houston seemingly for months. Let's see how they do in Game 7 here. They've got the pieces. They've got the young guys. They've got some picks. So they're in position to get better. I mean, I don't know. It just feels odd that Kevin Durant would be on the Orlando Magic at like 37 as like a savior.
Right.
It feels kind of odd. However, you look down like Hakeem Olajuwon, I'm pretty sure played for like the Toronto Raptors in one of his final
Yes,
seasons.
he did.
Patrick Ewing was in like Seattle. It happened, okay?
Right.
Michael Jordan with the Wizards.
Right.
So I don't know that I'd rule that out, but, KD is a bit of a front runner. I don't know that he would do that. Is there a world where the Mavs would try to add KD to Kyrie and Anthony Davis? I don't know. Nico Harrison clearly in trouble, might try a Hail Mary to save his job. So KD is going to be interesting, but the problem is, would you take, I think he's 30-year-old Giannis or 31 versus 37-year-old Kevin Durant. I think he's 37 in September. To me, it feels no-brainer. I would go all in for Giannis first. So I don't know where that leaves KD. And that's probably going to be a weird situation for him because he's always been the guy that everybody wants. And I don't know that that's going to be the case this offseason.
You spoke about the Orlando Magic, and I wanted to get your opinion on Paolo Banchero because I think that you do think highly of him, as do I as well. I mean, this is a 3-level scorer. He's 6'10", about 260, but he moves like a deer. And listen, when he's on, I mean, I don't know if there's a defender or a defense in the NBA that's able to get in the way of him. So in 2 to 3 years, if he keeps playing at this level and the Magic begin to win games in the playoffs, as the NBA is now kind of looking for that face of the game once LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry now go on into the sunset, do you think Paolo Banchero is going to need to probably have a conversation of being one of the new faces in the NBA?
Yeah, that's interesting. He's really young. What is he, 23?
Yeah.
Because, he's super skilled and obviously fun to watch. They got kind of screwed there with Suggs' injury this year.
Right.
I thought Orlando was going to be dangerous.
Yes.
Obviously going up against Boston, like, give me a break.
Right.
But I guess Banchero's in that discussion. I think Cooper Flagg's going to probably be in that discussion soon. Right. Given where we are, politically right now in this country, the NBA sure would not. They wouldn't be disappointed to have a young white guy out of Duke come out and be a major star.
Right.
But like Donovan Mitchell's in there, Tatum, Anthony Edwards, Banchero's there. They just, I don't know what you do with the Wagner brothers, but you definitely need, if you could get in the honest discussion, if you can get in the KD, I think Orlando pops up because the West we know is brutal, but in the East, you add one of those two guys, you're right there with Boston, and we'll see if Cleveland. I personally think Cleveland's going to run into a bit of a problem with the Pacers. We'll see.
Okay.
But I don't know if Cleveland's built to be a dynasty. So you make the right trade, you could be right there with Boston and the Knicks and Cleveland.
Last one for you before we let you go, as we're joined by Jason McIntyre, co-host of The Herd with Colin Cowherd. LeBron James, is he a Laker? Does he go somewhere else? If you're reading into the tea leaves, how does this ultimately end up with LeBron James and where he spends now his 23rd NBA season?
23rd, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
It's weird, the age and the numbers. You expect him to just fall off, but it hasn't really happened.
Right.
I mean, the guy's got an incredible work ethic. He's obviously going to opt out of his deal. Now, last offseason, I believe he said he would take a little bit less if we got the right guys.
Yes.
In free agency. It didn't materialize.
Right.
Is that still on the table? Or is that off the table now? I don't know.
Okay.
It will be interesting to see, like the Luka LeBron experiment had some very good highs, but it felt a little clunky in the Minnesota series.
It did.
But again, like playoff basketball, Minnesota was playing like prison rules. It was rough. I guess he stays at the Lakers, but the Warriors have gone after him in the past.
Mm-hmm.
There's the whole Curry, Draymond, LeBron friendship.
Right.
I don't know that I would rule out the Warriors totally, but that would obviously open the door for the Lakers to go after Giannis.
Right.
It is a little pipe dreamish. You'd need probably a third team to get involved. So, but I think he'll opt out and then see where do I want to go. Now the All-Star game is, I believe, in LA next year.
Right.
But it's at Intuit Dome, the Clippers facility. So it's like I don't know. Do they decide to do a send off for LeBron? Does he decide? Yeah, let me call it a career. I don't. Lots left on the table.
Absolutely. I haven't ruled out the Golden State Warriors either. There's those who are also photoshopping LeBron James in Dallas. It'll definitely be interesting
with
to
Kyrie
see.
and AD.
With
Good
AD.
call.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be an interesting offseason for a lot of teams. As Rob Pelinka said, he thinks there's going to be a lot of movement this summer across the NBA. We'll be here for it here in Jacksonville. And on the national side, Jason McIntyre will be there speaking about it all. You can hear him on the Straight Fire podcast where he's a host, and he's also a co-host with the great Colin Cowherd on The Herd, which you hear on Fox. Jason, thanks so much again for doing this, and we'll do this again once the NBA offseason gets rolling and talk about all the moves and how we see certain teams going into next season.